Good morning, Year 3. I hope you had a lovely Easter. This is our first maths lesson back, and this week we're going to be looking at multiplying and dividing. In particular, today we're going to be multiplying numbers by 10 and 100. Now, the word multiply, that word means times. So, groups of, lots of, adding the same number lots of times. Multiply means the same as timesing. And today we're timesing by 10 or 100. So I've got two examples on the board here. 4 times 10 is 40 and 4 times 100 is 400. Now some of you might already know, if you're timesing something by 10, it's getting 10 times bigger, you could just add 1 0 onto the end. Or, as I just move around my board here, if you're timesing by 100, you can add 2 zeros to the number, and that's the answer. Now, it's great if you know that already, but I do want everybody today to use the method that I'm going to show you. So as you can see on the board, we have 37 times 10. So we're going to make 37 10 times big. We're going to add 37 10 times. That's what we're doing when we're timesing a number by 10. But what's going to happen is, you can see I've written hundreds, tens, and units. Each number is actually just going to move from one column to the next column. It's going to get 10 times bigger, so it moves from one column to the next column. So our 3 tens is in our tens column, and it's going to move from our tens column to our hundreds column. And then our 7 units are going to move from the units column to the tens column. And now you see we have a space. And I'm sure lots of you will know what we're going to fill that space in with a 0. So 37 times 10 is 370. And we definitely know that this works, because remember, 3 tens is 30. 30 times 10 would be 300, just move into the hundreds column. 7 times 10 would be 70, so we can move our 7 into the tens column. And we fill all the spaces with zeros. And this is what I want to see you doing each time. I know some of you could just put a 0 at the end and you know that's the answer, but I really want you to show me you're moving the numbers from one column to the next column and filling in the space below with zeros. And it's the same when we are timesing by 100. You can see the question I have below here, 45 times 100. Again, it starts the same way. I'm going to put my headings at the top here, thousands, hundreds, tens, and units. I needed an extra one now, thousands. And I put my 45 in the right columns to start with, my 4 tens and my 5 units. But this time, because we're timesing by 100, we have 2 zeros. I need to move each number across 2 columns. So you can see my 4 is going to go to the hundreds and then to the thousands column. It moves across twice. And the same with my 5. My 5 units will go to the tens column and then to the hundreds column. It moves across twice. And again, the same as before, both spaces we have below my tens column and my units column now, I'm going to fill with zeros. So 45 times 100 becomes 4,500. Remember, to help read the numbers, you have those letters above the columns that should help you read the number. 4,500. We have 4,000s and 500s. 4,500. I'm just going to grab a book to show you. So in your book, if possible, try to stick the work on one side and the extension sheet on the other. And for each question, I'll come really close so you can see what I've done. I've put the 31 in the top boxes, and then I've moved the numbers across to make 310. You can see what I've done. This is what I want you to do for each of the questions. I've given you an example there, giving you that first answer. And if you manage to get that far and you want to do some of your own questions, I've written 6 questions on this side for you to lay out yourself in the book. And I've done the first one for you. I've written 354 in the correct columns and moved each one across one column because we're timesing by 10. And there's the answers, very neatly laid out, one number in each box. That's what I would like you to do. So remember, if we're multiplying by 10, each number moves across one column. If we're multiplying by 100, each number moves across 2 columns. Use this method and I'll guarantee you'll get those right answers. So remember, once you've done that, send me your work across and I can have a look at it. If you get stuck or you're a little bit unsure, come back and watch this video again, because you've got these 2 examples here for what to do when you're timesing by 100 and if you're timesing by 10. And remember, when we're timesing or multiplying, that number is getting 10 times as big or 100 times as big. So your answers are obviously getting bigger. That's why the numbers are moving into the larger columns. Thank you for listening, everybody. Any problems, just drop me a message.